Hey everybody. So I always think about this. Like even today, going through the life that I've lived, I often wonder if really the life that I live is actually sort of like I call it programmed life. And when I say programmed life, some people probably misconstrue it or don't understand it. But with every essence of media we've encountered in our life and everything that we've experienced in our life, would you say that we are programmed to be dark people? Or per se, you know, heavy thought people, people who, you know, kind of are screwed up, Like, in order for a society to wind and, you know, live together, it's really interesting. I think of it in a psychological way, as many shows as we've watched, um, our sense of thinking. I mean, this guy is talking to himself. Um, you got to put your mind into somebody else, like what shows do they like what shows do we watch, like when you see the crude humor on Family Guy, and like some people don't consider that, you know like they think that's normal, in the life that we live. But like, you also, like, I've been a military spouse before, so like what does a military guy have to deal with, in having, PTS, you know and it's a very interesting life that we live, because I think it's very straining to me. I think it's also very stressful. It's a lot. It's all psychological. It's all in our head. Like we don't realize it until you actually, I mean, you don't realize it until you're like awake. Now, when I see comments on my feed where people are like, well, everyone has problems and this and that. Well, I mean, it doesn't help in your life if you have your life programmed in a way to where you have to feel this way, where you have to feel anxiety, where you have to feel depression, because you're kind of forced to live this life of just sex, drugs, alcohol. And people say, oh, you make your own decisions in life. Well, I mean, if you're in a society where everybody is doing it and it's the norm, then how is it anyone's developing here psychologically, health wise, um, in all different sorts of matters. And I've been around people long enough to understand how people really are, you know. And to me, I feel like this is sort of our program in set life, is to sort of give into these, um, I don't know, these not so, I guess, like his outfit. Um, his military outfit reminds me of my ex-husband. Um, it's like putting yourself in someone else's shoes and realizing that you're sort of living the same life as them, you know? And it may be in a different combination, or it might be a different way, but in a sense, we're all kind of living the same life together. I mean, have you ever once thought about that? Have you ever once thought that, all of these, I mean, just think about some of these shows like Saturday Night Live, where I've watched, you know, you know, people being put in situations to where it actually is psychologically in your head for you to either probably be like that, or for you to live a life like that. And it's, in a sense, it's not really a positive thing. It's actually quite negative thing to me, I think, when you put yourself in these situations of these TV shows that we watch and the media we take in. And this is why I don't really watch TV or listen to music or new music anymore, or the radio much anymore, is because it's kind of the same thing to me. It's kind of like, it's almost detrimental to me. I feel like it's depressing, actually. It's almost as if you're programmed to be depressed or sad, or to feel like this is how you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be some sort of mindless person who's, you know damaging to society. Okay, because in a sense, I feel like we're not helping each other right here. I feel like we're hurting each other more than helping each other. And everyone can take that in a different way, because it seems like whenever I make the videos on Instagram, people want to talk with me, and on YouTube here, people want to talk at me. And like I see the differences on how people are and how they react, and I don't really use Instagram anymore. I literally purposely banned myself just to not use it. Like I can't. I mean, I can get a new phone and use it, but I purposely did that just so I wouldn't use Instagram. So, and I'm doing this YouTube because I haven't really done it in a while, as well as I sort of wanted to know your guys' feedback on how your life is and what you've seen and witnessed in your life and how it affects you and everybody else around you. Because to me, I feel like we're not really getting anywhere, and people say, oh, well, you have to work to live, and you have to do this to live, and, you know, but it's like, it doesn't help that the life you're living is damaging you more than you're already trying to help yourself, if that makes any sense. You're trying to get out of a psychological weight that's being placed inside of your head by the life that you live. So how can you do that when everything is going against what you're trying to go for to get rid of, you know? When you're surrounded by the same thing all the time and the same type of environment, you need to understand that it's, in a sense, it's a program life, because it's, you know, it seems that these people and these medias and these news people out here find it best that your life is this way. Because everybody plays a part in this, okay? Everybody does. And this is why when you're awake, it's a lot more detrimental, because it's like, well, you know, you're hearing one thing when you turn on the TV saying, well, this is happening to this person and this is happening to that person. And I'm just like, well, I can kind of see why. You know, when you're awake, you're just like, I can kind of see why this person's this way. I can kind of see why, you know, the life that they're living isn't so great, you know? You know, if you're being pushed to be a better person, or at least the best person you can be, then wouldn't you say that'd be less psychological incidences in your head that's damaging? I mean, doesn't that logically make sense to you or anybody? You know? I mean, in a sense, it's all in our head out here, you know? Mm. Everyone is in their own little bubble, in their own little life, you know, in their own little head. It's all here. Now, if everyone was programmed to be good and nice inside of here, the outcome of out here would be completely different now, wouldn't it? Wouldn't everybody out here be sort of a little bit more happier and getting along and not rude and vicious and not being used and abused by so many people out here? You know, and even self-abuse. Like, there's a lot of abuse going on out here. People don't realize it. They think this is like our regular go-to life. But, you know, who picks and chooses what we are supposed to be watching on television, you know? And with all the things that I've seen in my life, I'm just like, like, what is this place? Like, really, what is this place? So, you know, it's like, in a sense, it's not like you're being helped out here. It's actually you're being hurt out here in many different directions. With the people around you, you're hurting yourself. I mean, I even see it in, like, when I was in high school, you know, like this girl named, like, Courtney. I think I've talked about her before. I don't know, on Instagram or here. But, like, you know, she used to, like, cut herself. I'm just like, gosh, you know? It's such a high school thing, you know? But it's like self-hurt and self-hate. And it's like, people don't realize that we're actually hurting ourselves out here. We're not helping each other, and we're not, you know, bringing people closer to us. We're actually pushing people away, and it's a lonely life, you know? Instead of having ourselves together with everybody, we're actually splitting ourselves away and apart from everybody. So, you know, and that's why I don't get when I have people saying negative things on my YouTube. I'm just like, I'm over you. Like, knock it off, because I've lived dealing with you, your kind, my whole life, okay? If you have a problem with me, just leave. Just like when I find myself visiting a friend's house or somebody visiting me, if you have a problem, just leave. Or if I feel like I should be leaving, I'll leave. Because it's that simple. Like, it doesn't make it very hard for myself or me to exit a situation I feel uncomfortable in. You know? People want to always just start drama for no reason, when simply you can just go, or just leave. Or just, I'll step out and I'll leave if I feel like I'm feeling uncomfortable. You know? Like, people want to make a scene. People want to feel like there's an essence of something when really there's nothing. There's nothing. It's pointless. The essence of that is just pointless. You know? Just pointless. I just thought I would bring that up because it's like when you witness and see the same thing your whole life, you're like, why are people like this? It's like, well, maybe they're programmed to be like this. Maybe they've encountered so many people like themselves that they've decided to just, everyone just to be the same, you know? It's like, I'm a very nice person, but it's like, I'm seeing right past everything now, you know? Every little thing that I see in my life now makes sense, okay? And I don't know. I just think it's not fair. I mean, if people want to be rude and obnoxious on their own, you know, they should be able to make the choice on being rude and obnoxious by themselves without being programmed out here to be rude and obnoxious and crude. You know? If you're told to be nice, if you're being taught nice things, it would only make sense that you're going to be a nice person, right? If you're being told false things and lies all your life and you're still in the same spot, you're going in a circle and nothing is changing, well, I'll just say it out loud. I guess it's what it is. It's a programmed life. It's what this place is. But yeah, I hope you'll have a good day, and I'm glad you all are here to listen to my little chats, the little talking videos. But yeah, you gotta think of it this way, you know? Who really sets out the life that you live, you know? Like, who chooses what cars we drive? Who chooses what we watch? Who chooses what we like and what our interests are? Who eludes and deludes our life, you know? Because there's somebody in control, you know? And it's not like you're trying to give people this control. And it's, of course, you can choose that control. You can choose not to watch TV. You can choose not to listen to the radio. But you're exiling yourself from the world. And when you're exiling yourself from the world, you're not really connecting with the world. You're kind of just pushing yourself away from everybody, in a sense, just being alone. Okay? Now, when you're having to not watch TV and not turn on the radio anymore and not do these things, you're basically telling yourself that there's something wrong in this world. That's what you're psychologically telling yourself. You're telling yourself that the things you're being told are false. You're telling yourself that the things that you're being programmed to do are negative. And you're telling yourself that there's something wrong. That's what you're doing in your head. You're telling yourself that it's not you, it's actually the world around you that's causing this havoc. And giving yourself the control is only exiling yourself from this environment. Meaning you're being alone, and you're still living in this environment, though. So everyone who does listen to the media, who does watch TV like Family Guy and whatever else, are being affected by it, you know? I'm not saying Family Guy is a horrible show, but the things that I watch in there, it's extreme. It's kind of extreme. Like, it doesn't hurt me. But like I sometimes get on my YouTube feed about like Family Guy and stuff, and I like click it. I'm just like what do people think when they watch it? You know, like what goes on through their head? You know, when you watch these things, when you listen to the things that you do, like what do you accept and what do you not accept in your head when you watch these things? You know, and with all these different combinations of people of yes and no and yes and no, doesn't that kind of just throw everybody off? Doesn't that throw in a mix of just confusion and like, you know, and everyone's not on the same page. I mean, you know, everyone's just kind of just disheveled and like you know, I just put myself in the mind of just an individual, you know, whether you're single, married, whatever you are, in the environment that you live in. But yeah, I think that's enough. Bye.